I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be the problem with modern medicine. Well, the problem with modern medicine, if you've read some of my other previous articles on health, is that it tends to focus on treating people's symptoms instead of curing the causes that led to their symptoms and dis-ease. When people get sick, we often refer to it as disease. It can also be referred to as dis-ease, dis-ease in the body's functioning of the body's systems. As I've talked about before, our bodies need the proper nutrients, the ability to eliminate waste, and oxygen in order for all of our cells to thrive and survive in our body. Another thing that is incredibly important to the overall health, well-being, and functioning of your body is proper alignment of your structure. That means your spinal cord and your body structure system. And the reason being, it's like, let's take a recent example of somebody that the world lost recently who just had a huge impact on humanity and who brought a lot of good products and services to people that millions around the world use. And that was Steve Jobs. Well, Steve Jobs just recently died. He basically, according to his autopsy, he died of respiratory failure due to a pancreatic tumor. The interesting thing is that because I spend a lot of time reading people's biographies and listening to what other people say about other people, and then when you look at Steve Jobs' life, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Apple. I mean, most of my work I do on a Mac, and it's just, the computer's just completely fucking changed my life and my business and what I can do with it. And when the world loses somebody like that, it's just such a tragic thing. I mean, I know he spent like $100,000 to have a lab basically sequence the DNA of the tumor that he had to basically discover it and try to figure out what the problem was. And it's like, I mean, you look at like hospitals. I mean, most doctors, I've got a lot of friends who are doctors. I've been treated by a lot of doctors throughout my life, and I've known a lot of doctors personally. And unfortunately, when I look at the overwhelming majority of them, most of them are not somebody that I would listen to or look upon as an example of good health. I mean, when you think about it, it's like, look what they serve for hospital food. It's bologna sandwiches, Jell-O. I mean, they're basically serving the same kinds of food to their patients. They fucking put their patients in the hospital to begin with. Lack of proper diet, lack of an alkaline diet, lack of proper exercise, and lack of structural alignment will eventually kill you if you don't do anything to correct it. Now let's look at Steve Jobs. When we look at his life, and when you hear about people talk about him like the way he used to be 20 years ago as a manager, and he tended to be a lot like I used to be when I was younger as a manager. And I get angry, I get pissed off at people, I get upset with people, and sometimes yell at people. And when you're younger and stupid, you don't know any better than doing things like that. And he had the same kind of problem. And what I know about the structure, your body's nervous system, is that when a human being has unresolved issues, either of physical trauma to the body or some kind of emotional trauma, you basically have different parts of your body, like up here, your heart area, that is associated with everything to do with your heart and your ability to have loving, healthy relationships. The area of your rib cage where it comes together in that like V pattern, that tends to be your emotional center. And then down around where the belly button is, that basically tends to be your willpower center. And willpower is meaning having a willpower to do the things you know you need to do in life, go work out when you don't feel like it. Basically motivating yourself to do things even when you don't feel like it. And for people like when I look at Steve Jobs, and from a structural standpoint, dis-ease shows up in the body wherever there is a disconnection. And so, like the center of your body, like the rib cage, the V part where it comes together, that whole area around there tends to be, that's the emotional center of your body. And so if you have traumas or emotional traumas that you haven't healed or emotions that you haven't properly experienced, what happens is the vertebrae will subluxate. It'll twist. And when it twists, it pinches the nerves. And that inhibits your brain's ability to talk to the organs that are connected to the end of those nerve endings that are pinched. And like someone that has unresolved emotional issues from childhood or whatever, or they have problems in their interpersonal relationships, like what basically happens, this is a pattern that I had in my own body and my own physiology, is I had like a big lump back there. When I stood, it's like that whole area, it was just all hard, the muscle was all hard, and it took about a year of network chiropractic work for that to mostly dissolve and go away, and for the spine to return to normal. You look at someone like Steve Jobs, who's passed away. He had a liver replacement, he had pancreatic tumors, and these organs are all in the area where the emotional center of your body is. And so that tells me that his brain was unable to properly regulate those organs because it wasn't able to talk to him because the spine was subluxated. And someone that had emotional issues or issues to where he would act like a hothead or fly off the handle, as opposed to talking about things and communicating them in a rational way, that tells me that he was disconnected from that part of his body. And I know he was a vegan, but there's lots of vegans that are unhealthy. I mean, the bottom line is if you're not eating 70 to 80% raw green foods, green vegetable juices, salads, spinach, those kinds of things, then you're not getting enough nutrients in your body to buffer the metabolic acids and wastes that come from digesting sugars, proteins, complex carbohydrates, those types of things. And so also, if there's not proper exercise, and your body's never able to completely eliminate toxins. And so it's, I hear things like that, and when somebody passes away, it's like, I talk about Dr. Young's work all the time, and it's like, even to my clients when I talk to them, I've written countless articles on health, and even though they may have read the article or watched the video, they might not have applied very much in their own life. And that's why I keep talking about these things, because if you don't have your health, you got nothing. I mean, Steve Jobs was a genius, and he lost his health, and eventually he lost his life, unfortunately. And it's sad because it didn't need to be that way. But like I was saying earlier, in the topic of this video, is modern medicine tends to focus on the symptoms instead of treating the causes. Well, what were the causes of Steve Jobs' cancer? Well, he didn't have the right diet. His diet wasn't alkaline. I guarantee you he wasn't drinking alkaline ionized water either. And I seriously doubt whether he was getting network chiropractic adjustments, which would have completely smoothed out that area of his spine where the subluxation was. The brain would have been able to go, whoa, I need to regulate, I need to send oxygen, I need to send nutrients, I need to increase the circulation and blood flow to this area. And nothing would have ever happened to him. He would have been fine. I mean, just when you go to Dr. Young's website, there's countless stories of people. There was one guy, he has a giant tumor on his neck. It was inoperable. They're like, get your affairs in order, dude, you're going to die. And 6 months later, I mean, his skin was all kind of scarred here. But you can see the pictures where it completely goes away. And he's the only doctor's work that I've studied that I've ever heard of. I mean, the guy, he's regularly on CNN, Good Morning America, The Today Show. I mean, he may be on once or twice a year on these different, and so if you're not watching the news that morning, you completely miss it. And that's what's so sad and tragic about it. When you look at the healthcare industry as a whole, all the money that's spent comes from the pharmaceutical industry. And so unfortunately, most doctors have basically become pill mills. It's like, my elbow hurts. Hey, I had a pill for that. I'm having a hard time getting it up with the old lady, and you know what? I got a blue pill for that. And that's basically what they do. And so if you want to be healthy, if you want to be dis-ease free, then you need to get yourself Dr. Young's book, The pH Miracle, and start applying these principles. And click on some of the links that I've got on this page if you're happening to be watching this video on my website, and read some of my other articles so you can enlighten yourself and help yourself and save your life and the lives of those people you love. It's amazing for me to not have allergies anymore, to not have to suffer from the common cold or constipation or headaches, just stuff that I was constantly getting all the time for most of my life, that basically for almost the better part of a decade now, I've been for the most part symptom free, except when I've fallen off the wagon from time to time, not taking care of myself. But if I do, I know what to do to turn it around and take corrective action. I mean, it's really powerful. Our bodies are very simple. They know if we just give it what it needs, it knows what to do to heal itself. And so if you find this message of value, you can show your appreciation by clicking on the Wibia toolbar at the bottom of your screen and clicking the PayPal donate button and donating any amount you feel is equal to the value of the information that you received in this video. At the very least, please share this page with all of your friends and family by sharing it using one of the social network sharing buttons, which are also located on the Wibia toolbar at the bottom of your screen. If you got a question that you'd like to ask me or a topic that you want me to cover in a future video newsletter, just click the Contact Me tab on the left-hand side of the screen and give me several days to get back to you with a detailed response. And if you'd like to sign up for a paid phone coaching session with me personally, just click on the Products tab at the top of your screen and follow the instructions for booking a paid phone coaching session with me personally. And I will talk to you soon.